Hi friends! Today's video is about things I would do differently if I was getting divorced again. I'm in, I'm out, same story. Okay, so I'm gonna actually start with a little prequel to this of if I was getting married again, which at this point I'm not intending to, get a prenup. I never had one. Sounds like a good idea. I think it would save a lot of hassle and stuff in the long run. And also with a prenup, from my understanding, you are making decisions about your future split while you still like each other, while things are still good. And I think people are much more likely to be fair in that situation versus when you don't have a prenup and it's just like, gimme, gimme, gimme. Okay, so that's my little bonus tip for you. But let's say you're already married and divorce may come up someday. Here's what I would do differently. Okay, first of all, and I say this from learned experience, get your own lawyer. I don't care if it's going to cost a lot more money. I think it will be worth it in the long run. So here's the situation. In my divorce, because we were communicating really well and it was more of a we grew apart situation, there wasn't like anger towards each other. It was, we tried, it wasn't working, I asked for a divorce, it was happening, we both knew it was happening. We opted to do a mediation lawyer, so we had one lawyer that represented both of us and was supposed to be very fair in doing that. It was relatively inexpensive. I think I'm not even going to say numbers, like lawyers are different all over the place. But compared to getting two separate lawyers, yeah, it saved us a lot of money, which is why we went with it. However, the lawyer that we went with, and now I think about this in hindsight, my ex-husband knew the lawyer because she had done the divorce for his sister. And I'm wondering if she wasn't completely working for both of us equally, but we'll get to that. So getting your own lawyer will help you with someone who is going to have your back and fight for you. Because here is another little fun fact. You can't trust your spouse anymore. This is someone that you were married to, that you were in love with, that, you know, you did everything for each other. And, you know, obviously there are horrible relationships out there, but let's assume it's similar to mine where, you know, we really relied on each other. We could trust each other with everything. Once this process gets rolling, it is now everyone for themselves, and you can't trust that they have your best interest in mind anymore. I really thought that because my ex supposedly, and I assume this was true, still loved me at the time, and I still cared for him, that we would be a lot nicer to each other. And it started that way, I think, but as we went on, it did get more and more nasty. So you want to make sure that you are protecting yourself, because when this is all said and done, you're not attached to them anymore. You're completely on your own, and you better make sure you have what you need to live and survive and thrive and anything that's important to you. It was really funny, like the one thing that we fought over a lot was a Dyson fan. And it's so funny that ultimately he kept the fan despite the fact that he kept like everything else in the house. I'm not going to get into, again, more of my personal situation because it's not relevant. Like, it's not going to be useful to you, right? But I'm just saying, like, you will find the weirdest stuff that you fight over, even if it's a relatively amicable divorce, which is what our lawyer said. It was the most amicable divorce that she had ever, witnessed. And it was for a minute, but then it wasn't. So yeah, get your own lawyer, especially if children are involved. Custody and all of that stuff, like, you don't know what you don't know. And I am very much kicking myself now because we have a daughter And because I am still legally her mom, but I didn't get things in writing that I should have about calls and visitation and things like that, because it was so amicable that we could just communicate with each other. Like, our lawyer kept saying, "You guys are communicating so well, you can just contact each other about this." In hindsight, really should have gotten that in writing, because we don't have that in writing, and it's been really getting hard to get in contact with my daughter because there is nothing legally saying that I have to have this amount of time. They're not legally obligated to give it to me, and that's been the biggest issue in my personal story right now. So yeah, even if it costs more, like, take out credit card debt, get a loan, ask family, friends for money, whatever, do a GoFundMe. I don't care what it takes. Get your own lawyer. That is my number one. All right, what else? All right, I don't have a whole lot else for this video because that was kind of my biggest one, but just a couple other considerations. You definitely want to think about who your real friends are in this as well. Especially if you have couple friends or friends that were maybe their friend first, and then maybe you even got closer with that friend, but where's everyone's loyalties going to land when everything is said and done? You want to be careful what you're saying to people. You don't want to talk badly about them, obviously, because that could come back to them. You don't want to share information that they can use against you, all of that. So be very careful with who your friends are. And those who are your true friends and, like, you know that they're going to land on your side, lean into them. Like, this is a huge emotional thing to go through, as well as financial and, legal and all of the things. So yeah, you definitely need people in your corner, if only to vent to, if only to let you crash on their couch, whatever it is that you need. You're going to need friends in this process, or you're really going to feel alone and you're really going to beat yourself up. So I think that's another really big one. Yeah, just remember that as you're going through this, again, no matter how great the marriage was, how much you were in love, how amicable the divorce process was, like maybe yours was super smooth like ours was, and like we were talking and all that stuff, they're not your best friend anymore, and they don't have your best interests in mind. Everyone is kind of, taking care of number one. You got to do that as well. And it can be really uncomfortable if, like me, you're a people pleaser and you want what's best for everyone. Even if that seems to be their go-to as well, things change, and very quickly, everyone is really just out for themselves. So keep that in mind. If you're going through a divorce, I really wish you peace and the best of luck and good outcomes and all of this for everyone involved. It sucks no matter the reason. I have lots of friends who are divorced, and some of them, it was very much like horrible abusive relationship or, anything on the spectrum. And no matter how great it is that the divorce is happening, it's still sad. It's still a big loss. It is still something to grieve. You're grieving the loss of a lifestyle, a life that you thought you would have forever, because no one gets married hoping for divorce. I certainly hope not. That was not my intention, and that's not anyone that I've talked to's intention, but I think you get married because of hope. You get married because you love someone and you really expect that that's going to be the rest of your life, and you hope it is, and you try. So when things come off the rails, you haven't really thought that through in advance. I know I didn't. So I'm asking you, if you haven't started the process yet, or if you're in the very beginning, there's still time. You can still change things, like get your own lawyer.